Had the breaking news. Jamar Chase sat out practice again yesterday. His availability for week 1 is very much up in the air. And he still has 2 years left on his rookie deal. But
Burrow. Pressure comes. Floats away. Backs the other way. And into the end zone for the touchdown. Jamar Chase.
You don't know how I feel.
There are hurdles that may not be able to be cleared in terms of getting this deal done. And then what we'll find out is he willing to skip regular season games or an entire regular season in order to get what he wants?
Believe me when I say that you are surely gonna be girl, but it's alright, girl. You can hurt me, but it's alright. Hey, now one day you will see you'll never find a guy like me who'll love you right, both day and night. You'll never have to worry.
Cincinnati Bengals game of the season on the plate. John, how are you feeling?
That was quite the highlight reel. He should just play that in negotiations. I feel like this would get done a lot quicker.
Right. Well, John, here's the thing. We know some things now. First of all, he said, look, I just want to be paid 1 penny more than Justin Jefferson, who's a lot of people say the greatest receiver in the league right now, and he only had 1 year left on his deal. And meanwhile, people like John Sheeran are like, I just want 1 penny. So it is hard for a lot of Cincinnati Bengals fans, 1 penny from this show, that is, John. It is hard for a lot of Bengals fans to relate to a Jamar Chase. They're getting frustrated. Meanwhile, we see that he practices, he doesn't practice, he comes to one time he comes to practice in shorts, one time he comes and he's throwing footballs around, one time he's doing all these different things that is not football, John. So
Not football yet.
and we have 4 days to the season to start. I mean, there's no way he's playing week 1, right?
What was that? You kind of cut out a little bit.
I said he can't play week 1 if he's never practiced before.
Well, I think he could. May not be the entire game, but I think he would be out there at some point, right? So I think just being in the meetings and knowing the offense in and of itself will allow him to at least dress, and they can use him in some situations. But yeah, like being in game shape and taking on however many snaps it is, 60, 70, that might be a little tough. That might be a little tough if you've yet to practice with the team in its entirety. So, but no, I think he would play at least a little bit if he's out there.
Yeah, I could see him playing a little bit, maybe as a decoy.
But hold on a second. I mean, like the fans and their entitlement, right? Like, oh, like I'm not an NFL player, and I'm not ever going to be able to make tens of millions of dollars, or in this case, well over $100 million. Guaranteed, no matter what happens, right? If that was an option for you, you would do everything or nothing in order to get it. In Jamar Chase's case, doing nothing is how he can do it, because doing nothing is how his contemporaries have gotten the same thing. We just saw it happen twice with the San Francisco 49ers. Holding out / holding in, it works. These players have leverage that these fans have no idea about because they're never in position to do this. So whether it's last year when it was Joe Burrow should take a team-friendly deal so the team won't be constrained with cap regulations, and now it's Jamar Chase about shut up and practice. You have 2 years left in your contract. You guys know jack shit about this because you will never be in this position ever. I never want to hear fans complain about that.
Well, John, I'm not complaining, but I am a fan. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay.
But you're a fan of Jamar Chase. Like,
yes.
People are Bengals fans, right? But they root for the players, and they just see players as people who should just do things in a certain way, and then everyone will be happy. They're just robots. Like they have no agency of themselves.
I got it, but let me ask you something. Am I wrong in understanding the fans' perspective when they say he has 2 years left? Those guys had 1 year left. It's different. John.
It's different in some cases, except I was like that too, in the sense of this is how it normally works for first-round picks. That's the precedent. That's what it was with Justin Jefferson. That's what it was with Nick Bosa, who, by the way, held out the entirety right before up until his 5th season with the 49ers, and then he got like the biggest contract that an edge defender has ever gotten. And then that started to change, starting with Jamar Chase's draft class. It was Penei Sewell, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Christian Darrisaw, all elite players who've gotten top-of-the-market deals before their 4th year even began. I don't know what it is in the sense of why this changed now, but all I know is that Jamar Chase is by far the best receiver in football who doesn't have any ounce of financial security long-term. And I can understand why he's feeling that way.
John, I agree, but let's just say right now Jamar Chase says, okay, I'll sign a long-term deal for $30 million, $32 million, a little less than Justin Jefferson. Wouldn't the Bengals agree?
Oh, I'm sure they would. Yeah.
Right. So what I'm saying is financial security is one thing, but you have to acknowledge the elements of pride here. Now listen to me, John. Justin Jefferson, he came out and he said, yeah, I hope he gets paid, but I don't want him to hurt his greatness by not playing. Do you know why he's saying that, John? Do you know why?
Why is he saying that?
Because these guys said they were brothers in LSU, and brothers have fierce rivalries. It's called a sibling rivalry, where they're competing for the love of their mother, in this case Joe Burrow, who nourished them with footballs. Listen, John. And what's going on is, let's be honest. I don't care what other people say. When you watch these two guys play, I don't know their stats. They're the 2 best receivers in football. I don't think it's debatable. They're the 2 best. They're the 2 most gifted, talented, big-time playmaking guys. You agree, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were teammates, and they had the same quarterback. And now one just got the deal. Now the other one wants the deal. There is an element of pride on both sides. Justin Jefferson doesn't want him to top the deal. Jamar Chase wants to barely top the deal, to say, I'm still better than you. And even though he has all of mommy's attention now, he gets all of the, right? He gets all the bonding time with Joe Burrow. So all I'm trying to say, John, is that if he accepted his status in the NFL according to outsiders, which is slightly less than Justin Jefferson, you would agree. I mean, that's what most, if they're both on the open market, he would get a slightly less.
No.
No, he wouldn't?
If Justin Jefferson is already paid, which he is, right?
No. I'm saying if it was like, let's say, I'm trying to think. If a team couldn't make the same offer, they had to make a different offer, and they wanted to offer to both of them. If a team was evaluating both of them, they would say Justin Jefferson he deserves a contract slightly higher, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, Jamar Chase could end this.
You do realize like this hypothetical is a
I know
fantasy
how it
world,
works.
right?
I know how it works in NFL. I'm just saying.
Then
with
you know the person who goes next gets more if you're in that class. That's why Burrow got more than Patrick Mahomes. No one would say Burrow's better than Patrick Mahomes.
But John, usually that's true. That's true. But usually it's when they have 1 year left on the deal. And I'm not saying he doesn't deserve to renegotiate with 2 years left. John, if I was Jamar Chase, I would sit out this season instead of getting paid $4 million and risking 140 whatever with $100 million guaranteed. I would just sit out the season. Right?
Well, that's my other thing, right? Because now we're starting to talk about, is he going to sit out of week 1? Is he going to miss the Chiefs game week 2? And I'm in the agreement that if he's sitting out 2 games, what's stopping him from sitting out 17 at that point?
What's $4 million? Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, like it's a lot of money compared to what he's already made, which is why it's still kind of a big deal in terms of just your earnings. And I think it's more than just the money. It's about the accrued season that you would lose by sitting out and not playing enough games, and that would prevent you from going into free agency when that time comes.
He gets that next year, I'm saying.
But again, Daddio, if he sits out this season and then he loses that accrued season, that's more leverage that the Bengals now have, saying you have to play this season in order to hit free agency.
Okay, so he plays this season.
So he plays this season.
And then he's on the open market a year later with inflation, Biden economics, as they call it. And all of a sudden, instead of 140, it's 160, John.
Okay, but yes.
And he risks zero. He risks zero, John.
But
if
yes,
he plays,
the price would go up, yes.
Right.
But that price increase doesn't matter at all if he doesn't have it now. You know what I mean?
No.
Okay.
I'm saying, John, if he doesn't think there's a chance he gets the deal, why would you play? He almost, John, let's be honest, his career almost ended. If that hip injury was a little worse, he would never be an elite receiver again.
It's a very drastic evaluation of that, but sure. Yeah,
No,
I mean,
it was the Bo Jackson injury. Come on.
was it the same?
Yeah. Yeah, where it's like, yeah, could have ended it. I'm just saying, he's a receiver. He plays some nasty teams. Right? I mean, I wouldn't play for $4 million. I'll play next year for $22 million, knowing that I have no option, and then I'm going to get the $100 million guaranteed, or try to get that next off season. Yeah.
This is all assuming he does sit out, and we don't know for sure that that's going to happen. Like we can assume based off of just how the past 6 weeks have gone, but like the all of this is going to be fodder once the Bengals sign him, because there's no reality in which the Bengals don't extend Jamar Chase. It may not happen this week, even though it would be the best for both parties to do so. It could be a situation where maybe he does sit out a game or two. Maybe he does sit out that Chiefs game. The Bengals are 1-1 at best, and then they just finally come back to the table, and then Chase plays the final 15 games. I don't think there's a scenario in which he sits out all 17 games. I think even the Bengals, for as stubborn as they are in these types of situations, they would have to come to terms with the fact that they cannot win a Super Bowl without Jamar Chase.
Okay, John, it's just, someone raised the point, I forgot, maybe on this chat last week, but do the Bengals really give that much guaranteed, more, basically it'd be, John, the equivalent of the first, 3 years guaranteed to a non-quarterback? And then my second point is this, John. Of all the free agents in recent memory, the one who sticks out to me the most is Jesse Bates. Because Jesse Bates, John, he was the Joe Burrow of the defense. He was as valuable as a defensive player can get after pass rusher. And he was like 26 years old. And he was drafted by them, had one All-Pro season. He played in that playoff run like an All-Pro and beyond. He was amazing in that playoff run. We went to Super Bowl. And they're just like, we don't pay these positions that much money. I'm not saying, of course they want to keep Jamar Chase, but I'm saying, like, let's admit it. When it gets to a certain price point, the Bengals, it's a tough pill for them to swallow, certain positions.
Certain positions, yes.
I know receiver classically paid, but it's crazy, the receiver market now.
Daddy, I don't think you understand this. Like, if they don't pay Jamar Chase, if they don't give in to what the market constitutes as fair payment for a receiver of his value, it's no longer a laughing stock, right? It's worse.
I agree.
It's worse than the 90s at that point.
If they don't win a Super Bowl after doing that, forever they're going to look back and say, wait a second. You had the guys that Joe Burrow. I agree. It'd be a disaster. I'm not saying, of course I think they should pay Jamar Chase. I'm saying
which is why I think it does. Like, the whole guaranteed money stuff, it's 100% still valid. It's 100% still a thing until it transcends to other positions aside from what we believe to be the exception, Jamar Chase. But if it doesn't happen for Jamar Chase, this will never go away. And that's why, despite the fact that the Bengals can fine and rescind payment for Jamar Chase for missing out of games, it's why they have still 2 years of contractual control. Despite all of that, Jamar Chase holds the cards here, which is exactly why he's doing what he's doing.
Yeah. I think he is. I think, John, I've seen it happen before. I don't know if it's going with Jamar Chase. I've seen sometimes where players like, you know what? Okay, I'll come a little bit down. Because he was first saying $40 million. Now he's saying
we don't know if that's true. We don't know if that's true.
That's true. We don't know. But I guess what I'm saying is, John, if the Bengals came out right now and gave him 30, I don't know what it is, John. A little bit less than Jefferson. I don't know. Maybe he just takes it and says, let's end this thing. Maybe that's how it's resolved. I don't know. Okay, look. This is crazy we're talking about this when we have the first NFL season in history about to start where Joe Burrow had a full training camp. That's a big deal, John.
It is. I mean, I guess he did. So, like, what do we call 2020 then? Because there was a training camp back then. He was completely healthy.
It was over Zoom, John. I've been to a lot of those kind of training camps.
That was May and June. Like, they were still all practicing together in July and August. But, like, still, he was still a rookie, you know?
It didn't count. And then he came and he played in the emptiest stadium. We didn't know if it counted or not. There's no fans. There's no refs. It was just a very weird season, John. And so here's the thing. Now here he is. He is healthy with a faux wrist, but it's still a wrist. And he has a T. Higgins who is back with a vengeance. And he has a defense with some bite again. And he's going against, John, he's going against a Patriots team that I had to actually look up. And you can't, nobody even knows who's on the roster or who the coaching staff is. You have to go to the dark web. They have lost Bill Belichick. They've lost Tom Brady. They're a bunch of no-names, John. And they have this guy, Jacoby Brisket as the starting quarterback, who's a bridge quarterback, veteran quarterback. John, a lot of people are saying this is a cakewalk for the Bengals opening day. What do you think?
Kind of is, because
Really?
I mean, you want to reference Burrow's rookie season in 2020. I don't think a lot of people remember the names of the roster at that time, and specifically the worst part of the roster was the offensive line. This Patriots team is essentially that Bengals 2020 team, only the difference is you're starting a slightly better version of Brandon Allen, a quarterback, instead of a rookie Joe Burrow. They could have had Drake May out there against the absolute worst offensive line in the NFL this season, and whether it's because Brissett is more experienced and he's been through this before and they want to continue to develop May behind him, or they just don't want to subject Drake May behind a terrible offensive line that might ruin his development. Whatever the case may be, they're preserving the rookie and they're having the veteran out there who's played against the Bengals a few times in the past. Most recently, he beat them as the quarterback for the Browns in Halloween of 2022 when the Bengals lost Chidobe Awuzie in that game. But, I mean, that was a couple years ago. Brissett has kind of floated around the league. He was with Washington last year. Now he's with New England, and there's only so much that he can do with a limited receiving core against an offensive line that, frankly, shouldn't be able to block Sam Hubbard, Joseph Asai, Trey Hendrickson all at once. It's going to be tough out there for them.
And they don't even know who their coach is yet, John. I mean, Bill Belichick did
Gerard
not
Mayo.
name a successor. It's who?
Yeah, it's Gerard Mayo.
Gerard Mayo. Oh, that's a former Patriot. I know him.
Yeah.
Did he play for Belichick?
He did.
He was
drafted one pick after the Bengals drafted Keith Rivers.
Wow, that was a long time ago. Okay, so he is Belichick tree.
Mm-hmm.
Does he have the same grumpiness? Does he have what it takes?
I don't think anyone's as grumpy as Belichick.
Yeah. You see, that's what I'm saying. That's Okay, and well, so okay. So let us talk about matchups, John, because we don't know what the Bengals are going to do. Let's say no Jamar Chase. I don't think Jamar Chase is going to be a big part of the game plan. No Tyler Boyd, obviously. Yoshi is probably going to be a pretty decent part of the game plan. And obviously T. Higgins is the guy. But it's going to be a lot of Yoshi. And what else? I mean, what does the offense look like now? We have Zach Moss. We have, what do you think? How do they attack?
I think you got two revenge games on the docket here with Mike Gesicki and Trent Brown starting at big slot, tight end, respectively, and right tackle there. So I think if you're in a scenario where Jamar Chase is on a pitch count, and this is obviously the good scenario, you're going to have Trent Irwin and Yoshivas as your starting receivers along with T. Higgins. But even if Mike Gesicki is I think he's listed right behind Drew Sample as the starting tight end on the roster. I think that's the case just because Sample is your true tight end. He's going to be in line. He may be out there for the first play of the game. He might be out there along with Gesicki for a decent part of the game. If they want to go 12 personnel, they've been using Gesicki more in line than he's maybe accustomed to, but he's going to do the majority of his damage in the slot. And I think if you're in a world where Jamar Chase is only playing 10, 15 snaps, Yoshi's going to be in the slot a lot. Mike Gesicki's going to be in the slot a lot. Trent Irwin, who's probably going to start for Jamar Chase at wide receiver, he can be moved inside as well. You have a bunch of different versatile guys who can line up in multiple alignments, but obviously you're going to rely on T. Higgins, right? He's had a phenomenal training camp. He's primed for a big season, and that's your workhorse when Jamar Chase isn't out there. So there's no one really on the Patriots who has a favorable matchup against any of the names I just listed. Maybe Irwin can be your supplemental option or whatnot.
John,
what?
Come on.
What?
Give Irwin some credit.
I did give him some credit, but answer me this, Daddy. He does everything decently. What does he do particularly well?
He has a beautiful smile.
Yeah. Beautiful locks.
He has good locks. Yeah, they're good. Yeah. Nice. And he has a family history of wrestling crocodiles. So, but John, okay, great. So here's the question. We have Dan Pitcher. Does he go vanilla, or does he try out some weird stuff to see what he can do?
It's the regular season. You got to go it all out there. And I should be giving a little bit more credit to the Patriots. Christian Gonzalez.
Yeah, that's what Nate Johnson is saying. He's pointed out.
like Christian Gonzalez, second-year cornerback. Yeah, I think he's primed for a pretty good season. But again, like that defense is going to miss Christian Barmore, who's their best defensive tackle, someone that the Bengals probably should have drafted a handful of years ago. He's on the non-football injury list for the time being. So outside of Josh Uche, they just traded Matthew Judon. It's looking like a lot of question marks in that front seven. So maybe that leads them to having some light boxes for Zach Moss and Chase Brown to run against. So I think more than anything, it's going to be pretty balanced, because that's probably where the deficiencies of the Patriots defense will lead the Bengals to maybe being more, not run-centric, but more balanced in the sense of they don't need to have Joe Burrow drop back 50 times.
Okay, but could it be a trap game, John?
Of course.
With the Chiefs coming up.
Of course. 100%. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, because, again, there's a scenario where, the Patriots have this offensive scheme where it's just get the ball as quickly as possible, roll out Brissett and moving pocket, which he did very well in Kevin Stefanski's offense with Cleveland, right? He's got experience with that. And, the Bengals defense is still a projection in terms of coming off of last year. There's been so much praise about Von Bell and the enhanced communication in the secondary, but that all needs to be proven, right? I think there's more questions with the defense rather than the offense right now, because the offense is set up for their best season ever, or the best season with Joe Burrow, and the defense has a lot of work to do to improve from where they were last year. So there's still an avenue where the Patriots can win an ugly game in like a 2019 game, but outside of that, like, it's going to be tough for them for sure.
That would be really bad. Because, man, this Chiefs game coming. Well, we got to talk about it next week, but this is going to be big for the Bengals to kind of set the tone for the season. Okay, so we talked about the offense. We talked about defense. What is your prediction? Your final prediction?
I have to do that now.
Do we have anything else to talk about? We can talk about other stuff.
I mean, now, let's just go ahead and predict this game, even though my prediction will be wrong, because the Patriots may just get scrappy enough to win this game, Daddy. I'm talking like 19-17, and Jamar Chase is like, man, you guys should have extended me earlier.
Wow. Okay. Wow. That is not good. Well, there you have it, John. Do we have anything else to talk about this week?
No, but I kind of have to go to the bathroom, so I'm going to leave me right now.
Well, there we go. And there you have it. That is John Sheeran going to the bathroom. So, obviously, the show has to end because look, when John is in the bathroom, he doesn't say a lot. And that really doesn't help with the analysis. Meanwhile, obviously, I could say something about the analysis, but that wouldn't be fair to John. I don't want to take his job. And so with that, I would say, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. We'll be back next week, hopefully with the whole team. I'm talking about the Hoji Vector Kosmoji and Bridget the HR Jankars. And okay, oh wow, some good comments here. Yes, Talk is. I didn't even think about that. Daddy prediction. I didn't have time today. All right, 1 or 2, John. Which one is it? Yeah, man, I really should not. I should think more before ending the show. Probably number 3. Nate, you're going to have to explain what that is next show. We will see you. So long, Sweetie Pies. Take care.